Hall of Fame horse trainer Bob Baffert is back.
This field has so many potential horses that could win this thing. I think a lot of people are keeping an eye on Sovereignty. The World Series Game 6 in 2020, or you're borderline hitting a 300 perfect game. Which one's more pressure? What's the pitch that you trust the most, and can you show me the grip that you hold it with?
Probably the sinker.
Country House was able to come out on top, but he gets it outright this time. A little different story, though, in the ACC tournament. And, of course, the Cards able to turn things around. 36-1 odds currently is what you can get for East Avenue. What will Cards fans be doing outside of the Spectrum Center when their Cards aren't dominating on the court? Let's find out. In left field, Gavin Lux, coming over from the Los Angeles Dodgers, just won a World Series. He mostly played second base with the Dodgers. Everybody's keying on Chucky Hepburn, right? But the Cards have two legitimate point guards. They do this every year, but this is a special year for them, specifically because this is a ball club that has potential to win the NL Central. They have not won a playoff series in 30 years, so a lot of optimism this time around. A key piece for depth, a key piece potentially to start, is back once again for the Cards. When it comes to the show, The Office, it's simply fact that it is the greatest show in the history of forever. And today the Louisville Bats recognizing this very factual information. I just ran into head coach Marvin Dantzler, who was talking to me about the most locked-in person here, and it's not a person, it's a possum. But anything is possible for Central to win this game tonight. We're going to see the greatest athletes of all time on top of a sheet driving a bed. You don't see anything like this anywhere else, but instead, in the state of Kentucky, here in Louisville, we get that opportunity today. Was playing in the World Series similar to that feeling of waking up on Christmas Day?
I'd say very equivalent.
Unfortunately, here in Nashville, the Music City, there is no victory song for UK tonight. Here at Gary's Gym in Elizabethtown, Amber Engelbright started her journey 8 years ago, simply trying to recover from a back injury. But fast forward to 2025, and she is weightlifting on a national stage.
We noticed she had chronic back issues, so we started working towards that. I saw some promise in her movement patterns, and I was like, I think I can get this chick into weightlifting.
He slowly molded me into a weightlifter, and I didn't even know it.
From recovery to realization, that's the journey Amber Engelbright took when she discovered weightlifting was her natural talent.
There was things that I learned about myself that I didn't know I was capable of. And not in just regards to strength.
For the last 8 years, Amber Engelbright has honed her craft as a weightlifter, qualifying for nationals 3 times, and guided every step of the way by her trainer, Gary Esparza.
I've wanted to do this since I was 7 years old. She embodies the reason why I wanted to do it. Because she had that genuine growth of, this has changed my life. I care about humans. I want to spread what's been given to me.
But the 6-time Kentucky State record holder hit a roadblock along her weightlifting journey in September, suffering a wrist injury.
It would affect lifting and just my day-to-day, and I would kind of push through it, and finally somebody was like, hey, you should get like an injection. It'll help. And finally it got to a point where it just hurt to touch the barbell. I couldn't open a jar. I couldn't touch a bar. It was broke my heart.
She's doing most things that most people can't do, but that extra 5% for her was very important.
After meeting with Norton arm and hand surgeon Dr. Luke Robinson, he suggested surgery was the best course of action.
She had a ligament tear called the scapholunate ligament.
He got me into surgery really quick, and then after surgery, it was go time.
Engelbright had a very tight timeline to compete in nationals and was back to lifting just 2 weeks after her surgery.
There's patients, and then there's like elite level athletes that function at a whole nother level, and I don't think anything was really going to slow her down much.
I was a lot farther ahead of schedule than the normal person, but I needed the bar back in my hand.
Since undergoing wrist surgery, Engelbright has shattered state records in the snatch, clean and jerk, and total, something even she wasn't sure was possible.
There was definitely tears. There was definitely times of, I'm not going to be able to do this. I worked through injury. I worked through being home with my 4 kids. You know, I worked through a lot of hardships during all of those times. People probably still need therapy, but this is where I found mine.
Reporting in Elizabethtown, Dusty Baker, Wave Sports.
Fans that go to Bats games regularly probably recognize the man behind home plate, Michael Troutwine, but his story is one they probably have not heard. And I had the chance to sit down with him and discuss how baseball and mental health have blended together for him and for his family through their foundation, Will to Live. Michael Troutwine, obviously, to have the opportunity to sit with you here is a special one. This is an important month for you with Mental Health Awareness Month. Baseball has been a big part of your life, and having the opportunity to spread awareness of what you've had to battle through, the highs and the lows, through your life at 24 years old. Take me through where you're at right now, how you've gotten to this point.
As it pertains to mental health, it's been something that's huge in our family, and me personally, in dealing with it in the context of sports, sometimes, you know, in the past it's been kind of overlooked, or there's been a stigma around it, and as of late, teams and organizations across all sports have kind of taken a step towards acknowledging it and doing something about it and talking about it. For my family's sake, we lost my brother Will in 2010, so almost 14 years ago now, and he was 15, and he was a freshman in high school, and he was an athlete and a musician, and he had a bunch of friends, and we thought things were going great, and we didn't know anything was wrong, and it kind of just was a shock for a lot of us. My dad pretty much immediately said, we got to do something about this, and we have to use this to help. He's been amazing in kind of turning this tragedy into something we can help others with, and that was the point of the foundation, the Will to Live Foundation. We started weeks after my brother's death. We've made it our job to kind of help people out and get people talking about mental health and suicide and depression and anxiety, and especially in teens.
Talk to me a little bit about your brother and your connection with your brother. He was your older brother.
Like any 10-year-old kid, he was my hero. I'm a catcher now, and he was a catcher. That was the first position he played, and I was 6 years old and wanted to be a catcher, and because of him, and I play a little guitar, my family's very musical, and he was the first one to kind of dive into it. It hurt to lose him, and he was someone that we looked up to, and he's the oldest brother. We have a saying, it's called "Love You, Man." That's our motto, and it's just that little, hey, love you, man, when you're saying goodbye to a buddy, because you never know what the last, words you might say or when the last time you'll see someone, and that's something we learned the hard way. Even just that 3-word saying, I mean, how important is that to you to be able to spread awareness and do it in that kind of way? It's everything. That's the whole purpose of the foundation, and that's why we did it, was just so you remember to say that. Just saying, hey, I love you, man. It's that easy. And you do, right? And we do love a lot of people, and we want to show that love. Fans get to come out here, watch you every single day. Knowing your message and knowing what you carry on your sleeve, how crucial is it for you to go out there and take the field every day, honoring your brother and spreading the word as well? I want, people to remember, hey, I liked playing against him, or I liked playing with him, because that's what my brother was. He was a great teammate, and he was the guy who was laughing and having fun, and guys wanted to be around him. I don't think my brother ever cares if I get a hit or not. I think just being a good guy and enjoying it, having fun and laughing, enjoying it while I'm doing it is the biggest thing.
On Wednesday night, you may have noticed James Scott was wearing a mask. That was after chipping 2 teeth last Saturday. Thanks to U of L's own engineering department, Scott was back on the court in record time.
Saw him like, James, you look mean.
James Scott took the court Wednesday against NC State despite suffering dental and facial fractures. But a key reason for his return, his mask.
They needed it fast, and we just did it as fast as we could.
Thanks to AMIST, the Additive Manufacturing Institute of Science and Technology at U of L, the group worked in record time to develop and print the mask.
I immediately started working on turning his scan into a mask. Sophie printed everything out.
First thing we did was a 3D scan of his head. Then we just take that scan, thicken it up, make it a mask. We put a little bubble in the mouth and then slits through it so he can breathe.
I worked on the computer to turn the scan into the file for the mask, and then Sophie printed it out on the 3D printer and then worked to get everything cleaned up afterwards.
The mask was made specifically to fit the exact shape of Scott's face while taking his injuries into account as well.
We took just the injured part and we offset it, and this is that bubble that we made for his mouth. So Essentially all of this is like form fitted to his face except for the mouth part right there.
The 3D scanners that we use, they use different cameras at different angles, just like an iPhone would, to recognize your face.
For Amos, they have made face masks before, but completing this one in less than 24 hours was a new record.
So for these face masks, this is definitely the fastest one that we've done, but it was only as fast as it was because we've had a few shots to get the process down now.
Giving Scott the ability to return to the court safely.
Next morning, we cleaned everything up, got it ready. He came and got it and played the next day.
And with a new, intimidating look.
When he has that thing on, man, he looks like the bad guy in one of those murder movies or something like that.
U of L football has proven they have all the talent in the world to match up with any team in the country. But for their third loss of the season, a lot of fingers can be pointed in a lot of different ways, mainly towards the defense, and also 319 yards and 4 touchdowns. That was en route to a 52-45 loss. Coach Braum saying the defense needs to start stepping up as they prepare for a short week heading to Boston College on Friday.
You know, they were able to move the ball at will for the most part. We had a couple good stops there in the middle of the game. That was good. We were able to get a couple sacks, giving up way too many big plays. We gave up way too many big rushes. We weren't able to tackle people to the ground. Those are things we got to get fixed and want to win football games.
UK has been incredibly inconsistent all season long, but the wheels falling completely off Saturday night on the road in the Swamp when the struggling Florida Gators rolled over the Cats 48-20. Mark Stoops saying this team needs to clean a lot up before that game.
This one, didn't come down to, one play or 2 plays. They physically were very much pushing us around, moving us up front. Felt like we were playing catch up the entire day. Pretty good butt whipping there. They played very well. Give them credit.
It's a completely different story in Bloomington. For the first time ever, College Game Day is heading there for Indiana's upcoming matchup against Washington. This coming, of course, after the Hoosiers throttled Nebraska, frying the Cornhuskers at home in front of their 4th largest crowd ever, winning 56-7. Hoosiers quarterback Curtis Rourke is out indefinitely right now with a thumb injury, but Coach Curt Cignetti saying he does recognize his team has been playing at a very elite level across the board.
Made it real hard on Nebraska. So good win against a team that's got a good tradition and history that a lot of people thought was a good football team. Dominant win. People are going to ask me about Curtis Rourke. Thought he played really well in the first half. He hit his thumb on a helmet and the nail kind of came off. Optimistic.
To high school football, we've arrived at week 9 of the season. We're at that point where the games play a significant role in the playoff picture. And with that, we have our week 9 player of the week nominees, starting with Collins quarterback Cade Gooden, who threw for 263 yards and 3 touchdown passes. He also rushed for 160 yards and 2 touchdowns, and that was in a win over Anderson County. How about St. X running back, defensive back Marlon Harbin III? He had 113 yards and 3 touchdowns rushing. He also had 2 interceptions on defense and a 45-21 win over Meade County. Central running back Cortez Stone already won this award once, had 145 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns in a crucial 48-28 victory over Cal. North Oldham wide receiver Lucas Tompkins had 6 catches for 115 yards and 2 touchdowns. That was in a 37-0 victory over Western Hills. And more quarterback Javis Wallace threw for 157 yards and 4 touchdowns passing and had 186 yards rushing. That was in a 36-32 victory over Bullitt Central. The polls are now open on wave3.com, so go out and vote. Now, week 7 of the NFL season has arrived. The Titans on the road in Buffalo. Will Levis out with a shoulder strain. Second quarter, Mason Rudolph in for Levis. That's a touchdown pass to make it a 10-0 Titans lead. Third quarter, it's 10-7. Josh Allen finds Amari Cooper, his newest addition, for a touchdown. It's a 14-10 game. Fourth quarter, 27-10. How about a familiar face? Ray Davis, the former Cats, 16 yards out for the score. The Bills roll. They win 34-10. And Major League Baseball, former Card Will Smith and the Dodgers facing the Mets in Game 6 of the NLCS. Third inning, 4-1 Dodgers with the lead. Smith to dead center field. That's a 2-run blast, makes it 6-1. The Dodgers win 10-5. They are headed to the World Series to face the New York Yankees. That is going to be a classic.